This is the third Mass that I have celebrated with this community, and every time the book of the Gospels gets heavier and heavier. It's a big one. My friends, a few years ago, when I was the principal of the Jesuit high school in Seattle, I worked with a woman, Teresa Fields was her name, whose sister, Catherine Lacuna, was a lay theologian. She encouraged me to read her sister's book, which happened to be on the Trinity, the celebration of this Sunday. I got a copy of the book, and I promised Teresa that one of these days I'll read that book. Well, last year I finally got around to reading that book. It just took 10 years. It's a good theological book. In fact, Catherine Lacuna won an award for that book, a national award for that book, the year it was published. It's not an easy book to read because she delves into the whole history of the Church's teaching about the Trinity. And if you have any understanding of that, there were lots of philosophical and theological controversies about what is the Trinity. But I think her approach is fairly understandable. You don't need to be a theologian to get to understand her basic thesis. And it's summarized in the title of her book, God for Us. She begins by affirming that God is a mystery. God dwells in inaccessible light and glory. And because God is mystery, we can never really know fully or understand fully God. So, what do we know about God? We know who God is by how God is. We know who God is insofar as God is for us. The title of her book. What does this mean? First, we know God is our creator. God created us in his image and likeness. The only explanation for why God did that, the only explanation that theologians have been able to come up with is God must have done it out of love. And guess what? Love is mystery also, right? Second, we know that God as Jesus is the visible manifestation of the invisible God. That's a mouthful. But Jesus shows us who he is, how he is God, by dying for us. And why does he do that? Again, it's that love stuff. And third, we know God as Spirit. As St. Paul says in the second reading, which you all responded to, God is the Spirit poured out into our hearts out of love. It gets all put together. God is love and keeps on giving love. What this means is that our understanding of the Trinity is not some abstract teaching up here at 100,000 feet like some of the theologians who taught me in theology used to talk. It's down here, right in our midst. It's the theology of relationship. It's the theology of the relationship of love between the Father and the Son and the Spirit, and the theology of the relationship of the love they have for and with us. Key to all of this, of course, is Jesus and his saving actions on our behalf. The mystery of God is revealed in and through the mystery of salvation. Without the willingness of Jesus to empty himself, to become a human and die for us, we would have no knowledge of the complete love of God for us. Without Jesus and his teachings about the Father and the Spirit, we would have no understanding of God as Trinity. However, God's self-revelation in Jesus allows us to become intimate partakers in the life of God. in the love that is the relationship between the Father and the Son and the Spirit, in the love that is the relationship that God has with and for us. So what is the Trinity? The Trinity is the perfect realization of perfect love. However, as nice as that sounds, it brings a challenge for us. As I mentioned previously, Genesis teaches us that we are made in the image and likeness of God. The mystery for us then is how we take this reality that God is for us and with us and live it out in our lives. And we do so if we do what? If we love God and if we love our neighbors as ourselves. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? But we know it's real hard to do that loving stuff all the time in the same perfect way that God does. But thank God we have Jesus who saved us and has taught us about the Father and the Spirit and given us the hope and the confidence and the promise that we can live out that love in our daily lives. So let us do that today and always. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.